In this lesson, we're going to fix the header and fix the about section. So we have everything working okay so far. And now we want to go ahead and get this working correctly. What we want to do is we want to put these side by side. So let's go ahead and open up our styles.css. And what we want to do is we want to put some space for the text and some space for the figure. So this is what we're doing right here. Header has an article that's going to be left aligned. Figure is going to be right aligned. So let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to do that with floats. So let's go ahead and get started. So here's header. That's the only thing we have so far is that the header is 100% of the viewport height. So it looks like a separate page. So let's go ahead and do some floats. I'm going to do header, figure, and then I'm going to float it to the right. But that won't help because the text is still going to push it down. It won't go there unless I have a specific width. So I'm going to say let's do width at 30%. And that should give it a nice big picture, not taking up too much space. Now we have to do the same thing with the article. So we have header, article, and for that one, we want it to float left. And let's go ahead and give it a 60%. So that just makes, width. That just gives it 90%, but it gives us 10% of fudge space in between. So we don't have to worry about adding any extra margin or spacing to keep them apart. The fact that they won't span 100% will help us with that. All right, so let's do file and save all and refresh. And refresh. And you can see that, well, it worked. But the problem is this picture is off the screen. So we have a problem with that. And the problem is that the picture, so even though it's 30% from here to here, the picture is going to leak out of there because the picture is too big. So let's go ahead and fix that and tell the computer that we do not want this to be more than 100% of the container. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to put that in between these two because it's a child of figure. So it's going to be header, figure, image. And we're going to say width 100%. All right, we'll do file, save all, and refresh. All right, and you can see that we have some extra space there. That space is because of the margin that we have in figure. So let's go ahead, let's go ahead and right mouse click and inspect so we can see that. And we've seen it before when we use figure. So here's the header, there's figure, and you can see that we have 40 pixels on the left and the right and 1 EM at the top and the bottom. So we want to go ahead and change that. Let's start out by just giving it 0. So here we'll just say margin 0, and we'll do file, save all, and refresh. And you can see that, okay, well that worked, but now it's up here, and it's up there because we're cutting off the top of it with this. We need to actually push it down. So we're going to do that by adding something. We want 0 all the way around, but the top we want 20%, 20 pixels. So let's do 20 pixels, 0. Now it's going to give us 20 pixels top and bottom, but that's not an issue. The bottom, because there's plenty of room at the bottom. And we'll do file, save all, and refresh. And there we go. So that moved that into there. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is make this circular. And you can see my picture's pretty small, and that's because the width is much less wide than your computer if you didn't have this on here and I had the full screen. Let's go ahead and add to the image. Let's go ahead and add a border. So we'll do a border, and we'll do the normal border. And that's 1 pixel, solid black. And let's do File, Save All, and refresh. And you can see now we have a black border. And the next thing we want to do is give it some border radius. So let's do, whoops, border dash radius, and let's give it a 50%. File, save all, and refresh. And there we go. So this will get bigger and smaller depending on the size of the screen, but it'll never be outside of that. And you can see that once it gets to a certain point, like right here, everything goes to heck in a handbasket because of the navigation. But you can see fluid. That's what we want to start out with, is a fluid design. All right, is there anything else we need to do? That looks good. So let's go down now and fix the About section. And for that, we're going to have to add some content. All right, so there's the About. So let's go back into Index and see how that looks. We just have this, and that's not right. So we're going to have an article, just like we had in the header. And we're going to put our content in the article. That's going to be left aligned. And then we're going to have a figure. And that's going to have our image in it. So let's go ahead and put that in. Figure IMG. And that is going to be storefront.jpg. And we're going to have an alt text of Trident sandwich storefront. Okay, now we need to go get what's going to go inside that article, and that's this right here, our story. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it into my HTML. You can see we don't have much content in this, and that's to make my life easier in teaching this, but there should be, actually it makes it 250, but there should be probably a lot more text in this project. All right, so that looks good. All right, let's see, make sure everything works. We'll do File, Save All, and then refresh. And you can see that that's not working, and that's because I did the same thing I do always. This is in the images folder. So images. This is the build and test methodology. You should always build it, test it, make sure that everything's working before moving on. And there you go. All right, so we have these two things, and we want to move them side by side. You can see that that storefront is bigger than before. So what we need to do is we need to style it a little bit differently than we did with that. All right, so we have this. This is going to be a section. So we'll put it underneath our section code. So that's the generic one. So let's do like we did last time. I'm going to do section hashtag about. So this is saying I want to select a section that has a ID of about, and then within that I want to select the child that's called figure. Did I spelled that right? No. Figure. There we go. So for the figure, let's go ahead and make it 40% of the size. So width 40%. And of course, we want to go ahead and should do that first. We want to float that to the right. Okay, and then let's do the other side. We'll do section hash about. And now we want to target the article. And let's make that 50%. So we'll float that to the left. And we'll make that width 50%. All righty. Let's go see what happens. We'll do File, Save All, Refresh. And you can see that we have the same problem with the picture. And that is that the picture is larger than the container. So we need to do the same thing we did before. And if we wanted to, we could do this. Let's see. So what I've done here, oh, actually, that's not going to work at all. So let's forget that. Okay, well, these images are going to be different. They're going to have the same width of 100%. But, okay, so let's go into here, and we'll do section hash about figure image, and then we'll do with 100%. So the picture width will never be larger than the container. It'll just take up the entire container. So let's do File, Save All, and refresh. Okay, and we have the same problem with our figure. And that is, let's see, float right with 30%. So we're going to have to use the same kind of margin that we did with the other figure. All right, so there's home, there's about, and everything's looking pretty good. So it looks like we're ready to go ahead and try to think of anything else I forgot. All right. Oh, I see. Yeah, there is a problem here. See how this is not how we want to have it here. So what we did is in the beginning, we went into main. It's under main. And we said padding 10%. And that's not what we want for main. So let's get rid of that. What we want to do is let's do this and see how this works. I guess I'll put it right here. Let's do header, section. No, that's not right. Is that what I got from there? Here it is. That's not right. I must have deleted it rather than what we want to do is padding. And we'll do 10 pixels. Let's see how that works. File, save all, and refresh. See, now the white takes up the entire container. And this is pushed off the side so they're not next to each other. And that works here too. All right, everything's working good. That's it for this lesson, and we'll go on to the next one and start working on our sandwiches.